we have two members who were not here. So these two sets of minutes for June will be held until August. Is there a motion to approve the warrants and the payroll time sheets? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Tim?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve transfer of interest to the respective funds.
So moved.
Second.
Tim?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer from the general fund to the police, the monthly transfer from the general fund to the police?
Motion.
Second. Whoever.
Tim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Susan?
I'll let Dave go ahead, if he wants to talk first.
About,
The Better Hazard Mitigation Grant, I have that on my list.
we're going to do this one's joint venture.
Okay, go
We'll
ahead.
have David
Okay.
start right here.
There you go. There we go.
did I get it all?
Yep, I think you did.
Okay, do you guys have any questions?
I think
5% was a cost to the village, or
No. Typically, it could be anywhere from 50 to 20% match, but I believe since it's mitigation money, I'm not positive of this, but I'm pretty sure it's a 20% match. So, and you can do that through multiple different ways. You can take and either come up with the cash itself and be able to pay it. You can do it with in-kind services. And so that would probably be your best bet, to where like other entities have done it like that by asking bigger companies like Butler Rural Electric had put in a telephone pole and donated the pole and the labor to put it in down in Grass Township for their tornado siren down there. They could use all that expense as part of their match to be able to get that. And I think that you guys can be able to do the same thing by finding people that can buy the pole, put the pole in. There's a good possibility DP&L might do something like that. There's a good possibility Dark Rural will do something like that. You just need to talk to them and see what you can get out of them to be able to handle that, or you have to come up with the actual cash itself. Typically, a tornado siren installed is going to be somewhere around $25,000. So, and that will give you the ability to have it set off along with all the rest of the sirens in the county through the sheriff's office dispatch. So that'll take care of all the problems that you'll have there as far as doing that. But as far as the cost, there's no cost to put in the pre-application, and hopefully they'll move it on to an application, and I'm more than willing to work with Susan to make sure that all the boxes are checked within the application to be able to get this money if it goes through.
And then my understanding on the hazard mitigation grant program, if that's what you're going for the HMGP, and I'm doing one of those right now down in Gasper Township, for a safer mental Boy Scout
Yep.
complex. And the way that one works, in my understanding, based on the webinar that I watched on the HMGP, that matches 12.5%.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 75-25 grant, and the federal pays 75, and then the state EMA picks up 12.5, and then the grantee has to pick up 12.5.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing down there, and based on the webinar that I watched last week on the HMGP that came out, they're doing the 12.5. So if that helps.
Yeah, I missed that.
That's okay, no problem. So, no, you're fine, you're fine.
So it's even better now. Now it's not 20%, it's 12.5.
So it'd be
Do we
like,
hear 10? Do we hear 10?
yeah, it'd be like 34.25, I think is what the mayor and I figured out real quickly there.
A little bit over $3,000 would be our share if this all went through the way we are hoping it will.
And I would really encourage you guys to, at least if not, to try and do something like that, because one of the big concerns I have is the campgrounds over here, because most of the time people are from out of the area and they do not have a weather radio. They don't know what to turn to it if they actually do. I don't know whether they watch a lot of TV, where like Channel 2 or Channel 7, Channel 22, 45, any of those that they watch will usually cut in and say, hey, there's a severe weather coming your way, you need to do that. But having a tornado siren there, that's exactly what it's for. It's an outdoor warning siren. You know, I'm usually more of a proponent for weather radios, because those things there inside will wake you up no matter what time it is. And you'll be able to hear it, whereas outdoor warning sirens sometimes will not, depending upon where you are and what's going on with it. But in the campgrounds, they should all be able to hear that, and they should all know where to go in case there is a tornado. And I'll be more than happy to work with them if they need to work up some sort of a plan to be able to pass out to people and say, hey, if we have some severe weather, especially in the beginning and the end of the summer, this is what you do. Here's a sheet on it, and go from there. So, you know, to try and help keep people safe, that's a big thing that I have that I try and do as the EMA director. You know, try and plan ahead for these things and make sure that people understand what they need to do and be able to let them know when they need to do it.
And then the other thing on the 3125, I think what we could do is you could pass a motion to provide the match. And then in the meantime, we can, because this application was due July the 10th, so they don't really give you a lot of time. So what we could do in the meantime, though, because the full application is what we do till November 18th, so there's going to be some time in there where we'll hear something. We could be working and reaching out to DP&L to see if they would set a goal for us for free for this, you know, to use as your match or what have you. We could be working on that in the meantime. You know, just because you don't have all that worked out by July the 10th, you know, to me, as long as you commit the cash or in-kind services, one or the other, I think you'll be fine. And then if we can come up with the other, then it just saves you the money. But it might be a little quick to make all that come together, because if you call DP&L, they're going to say, oh, well, we got to call so-and-so, and so-and-so, and so-and-so. And I'm not saying that they won't do it, but there's a chain of command they'll have to go through to get you in. That could take more than 9 days, especially with the July 4th holiday.
Yes, certainly could.
So that would be my suggestion.
Are there any questions for David or Susan about this matter? The chair will entertain a motion to allow Susan to prepare a pre-application for the hazard mitigation grant for a tornado siren. Is there such a motion?
I will make that. Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Peggy. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
I'm sure Susan has some other things to do.
Yep,
She's
of
got
course,
stuff, but
of course.
we'd like to get that out of the way. And David's on vacation, so if you need to go,
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I do have a pay request from ProGrade for East Cherry Street in the amount of $79,958.46. The majority of that work is for the curb on the Phase 2 portion, which is Spring Street down to the court, because they were still working on that when we had our meeting last month. So basically, most of that's for that curb. As you can see, they're working on trying to get the sides all filled back in where the wedge is going to be. And then next week, the milling machine will come in and we'll actually do the mill and the reshape of the street as far as the profile is concerned. And then they'll be doing the paving, and I anticipate most of that to be done next week. So with that in mind, I need approval of $79,958.46.
is there a motion to approve payment to ProGrade for $79,958.46? Work's done to this date.
I'll second.
Sorry.
And that's okay. Go ahead.
Kim.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
Aaron.
Yes.
Peggy. Yes. Ralph.
Yes.
And of that amount, $71,349.98 will come out of the CDBG grant that the county will be paying under. So, the next thing I have has to do with the Ohio Public Works Commission application that we talked about last month. And I'll go back a step. As you know, we're moving forward with the Spring Street Bridge with just replacing the deck and the beams. I received an email from the state last week on Thursday, which they copied to the village, and they have decided to take that project and put it in a different program called the Ohio Bridge Partnership Program. And it's basically the same program that they used with the Walnut Street Bridge. And basically what will happen is they'll pay 100% of the construction costs instead of 95%. And there's no maximum amount, where before it was 95% to a maximum of $388,000. Now it'll be 100% with no maximum. So they'll pay for all of the construction. So that 5% construction that you guys had put aside, you will no longer have to put forward for the project. So that was good news. And then also we have the High Street Bridge, which we've talked about, and we submitted through the Ohio Public Works Commission last year. And I have a resolution for you to pass this evening to resubmit that. It is in the second year, and if you remember, that's a 3-year pipeline, so we have to be in it for 3 years. So next year will be the year that you actually get considered for money. But you have to keep it in the pipeline. So this is basically just a resubmit. We had put it in with a 12% match, which is $29,400. So all that's going to stay the same. Those are all the same ones. So everything will stay the same about the application. Nothing's changing. We're just resubmitting it so it's a placeholder. In the meantime, I also reached out to ODOT and said, we have this problem with this bridge on High Street. It has a 41% sufficiency rating, and they basically can fund anything through the program for Spring Street that is 50 or lower. So obviously you're lower than 50. So my question to them was, what are you doing with that money from the bridge program that we got? And is there any way we could do High Street with that money? Just because, but it may be going to somebody else, I don't know, but I felt like, well, the worst they're going to do is say, no, you can't have it. But I felt like it was at least worth putting it out there that you do have another bridge that's in poor condition. It does meet the requirements for the municipal bridge program based on the sufficiency rating, and it has to be 20 feet wide, and yours is 20 feet wide. So it does meet the requirements. So I But, so what I want to do is I want us to go ahead and pass this. We'll submit the application to the county on July 19th. In the meantime, you know, if something would materialize with that, next year we'll do a swap, and we'll put some other project in and pull the bridge out if we could get it funded through ODOT. So, I still want to keep this in as a placeholder. I don't, you know, that it could take a little while before we get any kind of answers there, and I don't want to, you know, take that opportunity off the table. But if something would happen, we can talk with Crown Cross, the county engineer, about maybe doing a swap next year. So, if you want to go ahead.
Which I need a number for this, is it 07? Okay. This is resolution 2019-07, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the village of New Paris, Ohio to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs, and to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency. Whereas the State Capital Improvement Program and the Local Transportation Improvement Program both provide financial assistance to political subdivisions for capital improvements to public infrastructure, and whereas the Village of New Paris, Crown County, Ohio is planning and desires to make capital improvements to the High Street Bridge, and whereas the infrastructure improvement herein above described is considered to be a priority need for the community and is a qualified project under the Ohio Public Works Commission programs, now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of New Paris, Crown County, Ohio, as follows. Section 1. The mayor is hereby authorized to apply to the Ohio Public Works Commission for funds as described above. Section 2. The mayor is authorized to enter into any agreements as may be necessary and appropriate for obtaining this financial assistance. Section 3, Moten Associates Incorporated is hereby authorized to represent the Village of New Paris, Ohio, regarding the engineering aspects of this project. Section 4, this resolution is hereby declared an emergency measure necessary for the immediate preservation of the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the Village of New Paris, Ohio, as there is a time limitation for the application of such financial assistance. And this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval by the mayor. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2019-07?
Motion made.
Second. Pam?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Aaron? Yes. Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to waive three reading rule and pass this on as an emergency resolution? I so move.
Second.
Pam? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay.
The last thing I have has to do with the park. The mayor and I met with a gentleman from the Ohio Water Development Authority, Ken Heigel, as well as a lady from the Ohio Development Services Agency on Thursday after your meeting, which was the 6th or 8th or something like that, in the first of this month, out at the building to look at it and talk about what programs they had available to help the village try to get rid of that building. That day, I actually received a phone call from Senator Huffman, and he just wanted to call and let us know that he was aware that the individuals were coming from Columbus to look at the building. You know, that he was thankful that the Congress had given you guys some capital bill money, and he also felt like, you know, if there was some other money out there, he would be willing to help us with that, but we also needed to kind of like have your own stake in it, so to speak. So he basically said, and I also talked with Todd Smith's office, they did submit a letter to the lady at ODSA about applying for community development block grant money. And that really wasn't what she was out here to talk about. She was out here to talk about a brownfield loan program that they have. The community development block grant really doesn't have funds that do park type of improvements. There's probably an opportunity, maybe through a program called Target Opportunity, but this isn't something they typically fund, but I'm not saying that you couldn't ask them for part of it. But I think basically the feeling is that the village kind of needs to have some skin in the game, so to speak. So they do have a loan that they could provide to you. It's 2.5% interest with a maximum term of 15 years. So, we kind of talked about that a little bit and about, the situation of, how you know how much of this you're going to have to take on. If we did something where maybe, you could take on $150,000 at 15 years, that's $10,000 a year, which is about, 20, a little over $2,000 a month. Could we set money back out of the money that you're using for street repairs, that 5,000 or 6? Could you take 2 out of that and put it towards the park, and then still have the 4 to put towards the streets? What's your priorities? We've done a really good job, I feel like, over the last 15 years of, doing all of Washington Street, doing Cherry Street. We've fixed, most of Polly Mills. We've done Shady Lane. We've done part of Main Street. We did the Railroad Street and Water Street area down there. So you've really done a good job of going after grant money and making street improvements. So I think, you guys will have to decide, is it worth trying to put some of those funds towards the park, or is that not what you feel is the most advantageous for the community? The other thing is, there was some discussion about potentially a private entity having some interest in maybe putting a healthcare facility in New Paris. Don't really know how serious that is. I've reached out to a couple people and I've yet to hear back from them about it. But I know the mayor and I talked about whether or not you would consider maybe selling off the section to the north, maybe a swipe of property there along Walnut Street, and maybe fronting a little bit there on Spring, or maybe not because of the shelter that's there. And maybe that might be a way to garner some funds to put towards the demolition of the building, if there would be an opportunity there. Don't know if that exists. We're still kind of trying to find the right doors to knock on, or at least I am anyway. And I've reached out to a couple people, but I'm still waiting to hear back from them. So I guess it's just kind of one of those things where, we've got a year under our belt, the Capitol bill money, we have a year to go. So we can't wait until the last minute to figure out what we want to do. I think you need to think about, is it worth trying to go after some remediation bids so we can get a little better handle on that remediation number. It's about 5 years old, that $250,000 number is. I think, I don't really feel like the demolition numbers probably changed that much, which was 100 to 150. But, I think we need to think about, is it worth trying to move forward with just the remediation piece and trying to get something out of the way, and then continue to work on what do we do to get the demolition done. So I don't know if you guys have thought much about it, if you have any thoughts, if you have some comments, or you can give me some direction of what you think or what you're thinking, so that we can try to have a conversation about, how do you guys want to proceed?
Anybody have a question? Something they just like to bring up?
Well, I thought at the time we applied for the grant that we got to begin with, that the park had to stay a park, but we couldn't privately or sell off anything to private entities.
Well, we haven't signed anything with the capital bill money
when Ken Heigl and, what's her name?
And
And were still there, they didn't seem to think that there would be that it would be difficult to get that worked out. That it was doable if there is any interest. I don't know if you want to split it up. I don't know what we want to do. I mean, what you all would like to see happen up there. We're just trying to look at ways to avoid borrowing $200,000 or $150,000. And it's gotten down to right now, there's not much else out there available.
And I think if we could get rid of the building, there'd be some funds available we could go after to put a playground or a
Oh, I do
splash
too.
pad or whatever you want to do, a walking trail, paving a walking trail. There's money out there to do those things, but the problem is that this other is such a big piece, and that's such a small piece that people look at it more as a brownfield issue and not a park issue. Now, there is a piece of legislation that was just introduced into the House, I believe, called the Land Reutilization Act. And it's kind of meant for grant dollars to go towards blighted properties. Doesn't necessarily have to be a house, but it's just been introduced. So, I mean, it could be 9 months before it becomes anything. It could be the end of the year. It could go nowhere. But I don't know that we can count on that, and I will keep watching it for you. I've done some research on it. I actually pulled the bill and read it, and I think it could be utilized for something like that. But the problem is I don't know how much time it's going to take to make it through the process, and a lot of those bills die before they ever become anything because the Congress changes. And then they have to be reintroduced. And so I don't think that's something we can like hang our hat on, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Is there any feeling on, would there be objection, let me ask that, for Susan to keep sending out feelers about a medical office up there? It doesn't mean we'll do it, or but unless there's objection, we won't even ask anymore if there is. There's no sense in wasting all the time.
How do you feel about having some type of medical services in the community since Dr. Alm's not here anymore? I mean, do you feel like you missed that? Not so much?
I hate to sell off my real estate right there, running the streets and stuff,
I understand.
in my opinion,
Sure, sure.
just to get the building down.
I would like to see the building gone, and I know that there are quite a few people who miss having Dr. On in town. It's convenient.
I think there are a lot of people.
I know there are. A lot of people talk about it. I'm not one to go to doctors, so I don't know.
Me either.
Oh, bless your heart.
Generally, can we allow, are we in favor of Susan just going ahead and just seeing what's out here, if anything?
Nothing further to see what's
All
on.
right.
And it doesn't mean that you have to
And
agree
it-
with
yes,
it
no, it
either.
doesn't.
I mean, if it's not something that you feel like is conducive to what you want to do or, is worth it, so to speak, then, I mean, you're in the driver's seat here.
Is there any, how do we feel about going ahead and getting new numbers on the abatement of the asbestos up there? Do you think it's time to go ahead and figure that out? Is there a motion to go ahead and ask for new bids to do that?
I will make that motion.
I was saying.
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
How do you guys feel about the loan? And having to do something with a loan for part of it? I mean, do you feel like that's a worthy thing? You know, because I guess I feel like if I can go say, you know, if the targets of opportunity, and I'm willing to go talk to the High Development Services Agency about that program and see if maybe they could do 100,000. And then we could use the 200 plus maybe $100,000 loan to come up with 400, but that wouldn't do a splash pad or anything, but it'd get the building down. You know, and then you would have to do, you know, a loan for 100, which would be 400, 250, 150.
It's my opinion that it won't be a piece of cake, but it's going to be a lot easier to get funding, donations, little grants, whatever we need to put in a splash pad or to put in playground equipment and things like that. Those things that people can see, right? And when you go in there and you say, we need $500,000 to get rid of this building, they just choke. They, you know, everybody says that's, you know, and now we have 200. We just have to try to get the rest of it. And the first step, I think, is what we're going to do is get the new numbers on what that's going to be. And then we'll need to maybe make a better decision. But I think looking ahead, it would be a lot easier to get money for the improvements, park improvements, after that building's gone. I think people would be willing to do that.
I say go for it.
Businesses would be willing.
Go for both.
You're gonna do it all the way, right?
Yeah, right.
That's right. Well, I think, Susan, it seems to be the general consensus that we'll just look wherever we can to see what, and if we have to borrow, we'll look and get it down as well as we can, and then we'll be doing it.
And I'll see if there's some other piece out there somewhere. I mean, even if it's $50,000 and you only borrow 15. And the other thing that you might do, you might check with the bank that you bank with and see if they wouldn't be willing to give you a tax exempt rate or, you know, something, you know, if they do 2.5% or less, you might as well go to them because
Yes.
when we talked with the people from the Highwater Development Authority, they basically said we would have to go through the Ohio EPA Voluntary Action Plan program, which is going to mean you got to do this and this and this and this and this, which is going to create more expense
It will
for you.
add to the cost.
So I really think, you know, even if you gave them a mortgage on the property, oh well.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going anywhere, you're a community. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to run off and, you know, move out of town because you are town.
Yes.
So, you know, I think with that in mind, you know, you have sources of income and they know that, and I know that they'll work with you. You know, most communities are that way with their local bank. You know, they try to be a good neighbor and a good partner to the community, and they also do it because they want you to keep your deposits there. You know what I'm
They
saying?
do.
I mean,
Yes, they
you know,
do.
that's a big deal to them because you have a lot of dollars in their bank. And so, you know, they have to kind of give and take with you as well when you need something. So, I mean, I think that's something that if, you know, maybe you want to go sit down and talk with them about it and see what they might be willing to do and explain the situation, that you have some grant dollars, you know, could they help you out? I think in the long run it would be cheaper because we don't have to go through all that EPA
The extra
stuff.
steps.
And that stuff's worth it if you're gonna sell the property someday and get out from under it, because then it's worth it to the next buyer. But if you're gonna keep it, you don't really care.
And it's going to get cleaned up correctly.
Absolutely.
It's not, that part of it is not, it's just a lot of extra, this has to be done, the paperwork has to be, that we could avoid, I think, if we don't have to go through the state to get money. So
They also have a 0.35% loan fee that you would have to pay on whatever. So there's, you know, another little cost in there. So, you know, as you start adding those up,
Yes.
you know, if you could go to the bank and they would be willing to give you the same rate, you're probably money ahead. Plus, you're doing business locally.
Yes. Which is a big plus.
Yeah. So I think that might be an option to at least open that door and begin that conversation. Not sure where it's going, but I think we need to kind of like start checking all the avenues, and then we can come up with a plan and bring it all back together and make some decisions on where to go.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I think so, yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
Excuse me. Anybody have questions for Susan? Susan, we appreciate your help.
I need you to sign those.
All three.
Yes, that's the application required for your money. Got that summer poll too.
Get your-
Thank you. Okay. Have you got something for us this evening?
I do. I would like to ask, first of all, if I could address council while seated. I'm recovering from back and neck breaks from a car accident, so it's difficult for me to stand by. Well, if you so request.
No, I'm fine, just speak up. because
Okay.
The reason we have people come up here is so they can be recorded.
I thank you. I wanted to come as a concerned citizen and talk to you a little bit about the tornado siren, and I really appreciate the move that council's taken to address this. Before I do that, though, I would like to make known about something that I witnessed a week ago in town. I'm a resident of New Paris Apartments. And New Paris Apartments, as you're aware, is the largest community of senior citizens, disabled residents, and single family or families here in town. There was an emergency call, and our town officer, Eric Stevens, responded to immediately. A young man lost his life. He choked on something. He died, 3-year-old. But what I saw was the dedication of the officer, Officer Stevens. He attempted CPR, I know, for 20 minutes. It was heart-wrenching to watch. And I make that known because I think sometimes we fail to realize what our police, fire, and rescue people go through sometimes. We should be proud of them. They put their lives on the line. Then they're not paid very much for what they do, but they do it out of love, out of compassion for our town. But to see what I saw and to watch the paramedics try so as much as they could to change the situation, we should be very proud of the people that wear the badge in our town. With respect to the tornado siren, I am glad to see that the council has moved forward on this. Several years ago, I was trained by the National Weather Service to be a weather spotter, and I learned a lot about weather patterns and things like that. And but one of the things I haven't heard anybody mention was the fact that New Paris is unique in how it's situated. The radar in Wilmington is unable to detect on-the-ground tornado activity much past National Trail High School, and the way it was explained to me was the way the land is. And hence my concern is that it's very essential for this town to have an effective warning system, more so than other places. You all live in town, you know that we have very poor cell service reception. We have very poor, we're prone to negative power light outages. TV reception is not the very best, and if most people watch cable, you are not even aware of a weather warning. I have a weather radio, and at best, I'll hear static. So it's really essential, and I applaud you for moving forward in this. because it's something that has been needed for a long time. I would also like to encourage the system that we have, probably going to have it for a while until there's a system in place. But there needs to be some training on that with respect to who turns it on. My understanding is that it has to be manually turned on. Someone has to be dispatched to turn it on. And it was made known to me that there is some employees of the Village of New Paris that didn't even know how to do that. Perhaps an oversight, whatever the case might be, but that wasn't something I wanted to hear. How I knew about the storm where I live was by the Richmond's Terrace Arms. I couldn't even hear the New Paris one. But we have had a lot of unusual weather this spring. I think we're all aware of that. Hopefully it's passed, but we don't know. But hats off to you for taking the first steps to address this and working with Dave and others to venture down this path and provide the town with a good, reliable warning system, something that's been needed for a long time. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're ready for committee reports. Safety.
Police Department handled 113 calls for service. Made 14 reports, 1 arrest, 4 citations, and then gave 20 warnings for
Anybody have any questions for Chief? Thank you. Been busy, huh? Going right along. Okay. Anybody else have anything under safety? Building.
I don't have anything right now. I can't even think right now.
All right. I'm sorry that you've been.
No, that's just something that happened here recently, and I was going to North Carolina, and as you can see, I never made it.
I know.
And I broke my neck in a car accident, and the venal something artery that runs from your neck up to the back of your brain, mine was twisted and damaged. So I had to do several injections last week, and then they put me on, believe it or not, 3 aspirin a day, so I don't have a stroke. And I bruised a whole bunch of ribs, and I cracked my hip. How in the hell I did that in a car, I don't know, but I did. And but anyway, I've just been struggling with this. I'm going to see a neurosurgeon tomorrow, and he's going to decide on. I guess they're going to do surgeries, several surgeries, and then they're going to decide on when and where and what they're going to do. And I'm here, but I'm trying to focus. I'm having a hard time. So.
I imagine so. Please, it's all right, and Luther.
I'm in so much pain, I'm telling you, I can't explain to you. I mean,
We're going to get moving.
No,
I
I'm here, I wanted to be here too, I didn't want to miss. I told Mandy, I was down here today, telling Mandy that I got to be here, and then, damn, I'm sitting out there looking at the traffic go by.
That's all right. Sometimes that's fun. Anyway, about the building, we've still been doing a little cleanup and painting and decorating, and I want to commend our village employees, Mandy included. They've done a lot of work out in here, and it looks very nice. It doesn't look like an old barn anymore. It looks nice. We appreciate it too. Streets.
As everybody can see, the streets are still ongoing. Over the next 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot of construction going on between the Main Street, Holly Mills, Cherry Street, Washington Street, The state coming in and doing their work on 121, 35, 320, along with what we've got going on with their own. But just be patient, please, and we'll get it all done when we get it done, everybody will be proud of it.
They will, but it's going to be a struggle. We're hoping to be done with ours before they get in town
Right.
on 320 and 121, but it looks like it's going to be really close. So just be patient if you need to. You know, we're going to let you know what the schedule is as much as we possibly can to keep those people who are affected, which are going to be quite a few people with the 3 streets being done. But we could not have afforded to do all 3 of those had we not done them all at the same time. The mobilization of the equipment and everything else would have put them out of our reach. So just bear with us and find a buddy of yours that lives down inside town somewhere where there's not a lot of stuff going on and park there.
The local streets, the Holly Mills, Main, and Cherry could be closed permanently in the daytime, not permanently all the time, but during the daylight hours, and open back up in the evenings to be able to be used. The state routes will have 1 lane that they'll work with, so you can get through, but during the daytime, Holly Mills, Main, and Cherry may be closed to all traffic while they're doing the milling and blacktopping. So I want to make everybody aware, if it says closed, it means closed. And try to stay off of it, please, and try it some other way. You've got to park on a side street like I have to walk to my house, that's what I do. But it won't be long, I mean, it'll go pretty smooth once they start building, they'll start laying the blacktop, but during the daytime when they're working, please let them work, stay back, and stay off the streets if you would, please. Thank you.
Now, what do you plan on bringing up? Is it down here? I see it,
Yeah.
I see it, okay.
Under old business?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Mhm.
Lights, are our lights all on?
I haven't noticed.
I think
I
we're okay,
noticed
all
one
right.
out
Oh.
at the corner of Cherry and Spring, a couple nights ago, like
Okay,
during the construction area. Don't know whether that had anything to do with it or not, and it was at late at night, so it wasn't early evening where it was slow coming on.
yeah.
But I did notice that one there, I'll check again tonight to see if it's
It's
still
off,
out or not.
let their opinion, they'll get the number
But I
and
noticed
get
it
it
when I went
to.
home the other night. Yeah,
Okay,
when I was home the other night, it wasn't working right there.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. Finance, yes.
Yes, what happened to the switching out the LED lights that we were going to?
I don't know, it was supposed to be as they were,
Going out.
as they went out, they would replace them with the LEDs.
And the gentleman who was supposed to have been here at one of our meetings before now, he hasn't showed up.
Yeah, I thought right now, Cherry Street would be an ideal place to put about 4 LEDs right down that main street. It was done. Okay.
Somebody's dragging their feet out there at Miami Valley and DPNL.
Yeah, they come in, it's all gun ho and all for it, and all of a sudden,
Well,
we
yeah.
have everything.
And really, didn't really give you a choice, they just said this is what's going to happen. So, but it has, yes,
There is a light out, there's a light in front of the Christian church on Cherry Street, it only works part-time.
That was a part-timer at one time.
It still is, it's still part-time. The one across the Marathon at the end of the alley right there is part-time. The one out here at the end of the driveway don't work.
we don't have any lights at all. I thought we were doing well.
There's another one someplace, I can't tell you where it's at.
You can make a note and let Peggy have that. She'll take a look at them and get the numbers and whatever we need to do to report them. Thank you. We appreciate it. Finance.
I don't know. No, we looked over the budget for Mandy, we didn't see any issues.
Okay, okay. Budget's been checked. The proposed budget's been checked. Sanitation. Got anything pegged for sanitation?
Yes. What I wanted to bring up about, I can find it here. I want to talk about it in the minutes.
Okay.
It's not a big deal, but it is. It says here that the residents will be billed for the cleanup, and if the bill is not paid, the taxes will be assessed. But the thing of it is, it's not the residents, we have to contact is the owner.
the property owners.
The owner.
And that should be corrected in the
Next one,
minutes.
yeah.
We just want to remember that.
Yeah, I'll
In
remember.
fact, well, we'll just remember to do it.
I'll remove it.
Thank you. Anything else, Peggy?
I can't think of anything else right now.
Are we getting everybody lawn mowed?
Hey,
Doesn't look bad.
Um,
For as rainy as it's been, it doesn't
the
look
one I
bad.
complained about last year,
Yes,
they've done well this year.
well, good.
What about the house up on 320 next to the shock place?
Well, it's
Oh.
not
Is
ours.
that not
No.
village at that point?
No.
That's township.
Yeah, it does look bad. Is it unoccupied?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it must be. Anyway, that we can't do anything about that one.
No, it's township.
And nothing for planning, I don't believe, except we do need a new member, another member for that, but
What qualification have to have?
you have to live in the village and be available and maybe have a little bit of sense. That's one of the things we like.
Common sense.
Common sense, yes. So if you know a person like that, there's a lot of them out there, but they got so much sense they don't want to do these jobs.
What is she telling us about us?
Well, then there are people who care about their village. That's us. That's what I try to tell myself. The board is here. Good evening, gentlemen. Have you got anything for us?
The only thing that we've got going on right now, they're in the process of getting all the fire hydrants painted. Over half of them are done, and then we will flush them and test them at a later time,
Good.
as time allows.
Good. Resolution and ordinance. Aaron, we have a resolution up here. Pull that up. Do we have a number? Resolution number 06. There's a copy right there for anyone to look at if they wish. It is a resolution adopting the tax budget of the Village of New Paris, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2020, and submitting the same to the Carroll County Auditor. I'm going to read just the preface. There are a copy there at the table. I have a copy here that you may look at. If this is the budget done in July, it can all change by January when we do our actual budgeting. But this keeps you on your toes. It lets them know we are looking at things. So I'm going to read this preface, and then if you want to look at the actual figures, there's a copy that Aaron has that's right in there floating around somewhere, and I have one too. Whereas the village fiscal officer has prepared a tentative tax budget for the Village of New Paris, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020, showing detailed estimates of all balances that will be available at the beginning of the year 2020. It says 19. 2020 is what that should say. For the purposes of such year and of all revenues to be received for such year, including all general and special taxes, fees, costs, percentages, penalties, allowances, perquisites, and all other types or classes of revenues. Also, estimates of all expenditures or charges in or for the purpose of such fiscal year to be paid or met from said revenues or balances, and otherwise conforming with requirements of law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of New Paris, Ohio, that the tax budget of the Village of New Paris, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2020 is hereby adopted. That copies of the tax budget are available for public inspection during regular business hours in the office of the fiscal officer, that the fiscal officer is hereby authorized and directed to certify a copy of the tax budget and a copy of the resolution to the Preble County Auditor on or before July 15, 2019, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect at the earliest period allowed by law. Is there a motion to approve the estimated tax budget for 2020?
I so moved. Second. Ken?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Aaron? Yes. Peggy?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there a motion to pass this resolution on a single reading, declaring an emergency due to time constraints?
Yes.
Is
Second.
Kim?
Yes.
Luther?
Yep.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. Park. Talked about funding the park, and we spent some time on it already. Is there anything else about the park that we haven't discussed?
No, there's a meeting coming up, I know that. They did, Brad Hampton and Chris Tempton are working with the Dayton Foundation
Yes.
on the tax thing. And they have totally told them, yes, absolutely, you can work under us.
So what you'll be doing is being a part of the Dayton Foundation.
That's
which
only
is a
yeah.
large group of charitable
Temporary.
organizations.
Only temporary though. I think they're giving them 6 to 8 months to work under them until they get their own number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's only temporary. And but they're going to start having some of these people come in from these places where they are able to go out and get like big money and stuff like that, you know, and able to talk to people about, you know, how you build a park, what do people want for a park, you know, what do the towns need, what are people's needs and things like that, you know. And I mean, they're just throwing a lot of things out there, and they've got the committee's tight. Everybody shows up, everybody's there, and I think they're all working hard.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Is someone attending the meetings with
Yes.
the American Legion? The
Yes.
lawyers?
I think the last one, I think Wanda and Shirley went to.
Okay. And they're getting them the information
Oh, yeah.
they need to have.
Yeah.
They're good, because
Yeah, and then Brad Hampton got involved with that too.
Okay.
And at the next meeting, he's supposed to lay out everything, be able to lay out everything on the table and say, look, this is what we need to do, this is what we got to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And that'll keep them also going in that right direction.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Luther. I'm glad you keep us up to date on that, you guys. You're around.
One more thing.
Yes, Peg.
Whoever sprayed the weeds on the park.
Yes.
That way it looks good.
Does it look good now?
It's looking good, yeah.
Good.
It's looking dead.
Jimmy did that.
Well, they looked at, yeah, I think he and they got to take care of, yes. Okay. Is there a motion for an executive session?
Yes, there is.
I'll second it.
We will return to regular meeting. We've got quite 2 or 3 important things to talk about here. But for right now, there's an executive session. State your life, if your business is done, feel free to go ahead and go. I'm leaving the room. Yes.
Peggy, wait a minute, we're still voting to go ahead and she needs a vote. I need a yes.
Yes. That's twice.
She couldn't hear, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, Candy? Yes. Would someone make a motion to return to
I'll
regular?
make a motion for regular, second. Ken? Yes. Luther?
Yeah.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
We are at unfinished business.
Nice.
And Ralph is going to talk about Mr. Ragsdale's 90-day review. We held that in a session with a member of the board.
Can I go into what my executive session was? Because I need to move on what we were talking about. We couldn't go to that executive session.
No, well, no, that's fine. If you'd rather, just a minute, we're going to stop and go ahead.
And get it out of the way.
Yes, you can get that off, whatever it was.
A few months ago, there was an issue on the table at 425 South Washington Street about the storm sewer situation.
You mean spring?
Spring.
I wish it was Washington.
I would, and it pertains to the Smallwood residents on 425 South Spring Street. I would like to entertain a vote to pay Mr. Smallwood $1,500 for part of the repair work that was done because of the storm sewer situation that went through his property that we have since moved to a completely different location. The gentleman came in and asked the village for $1,500. I imagine he spent probably over 10 times that much, probably, to get it done. Would like to make a motion that we pay him the $1,500, and hopefully that is fair to him. I think it's more than fair to us. I did check with the Ohio Ethics Committee to see if it was feasible for us to do that, and they agreed to me that in similar circumstances we could do that. And I would like to have a second to that.
I'll second it. Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Aaron? No. Peggy?
No.
Ralph?
Yes.
Kathy, I'm gonna say something. I don't think that, I think we should have given you a lot more money. That's why I voted against it. I don't care what Steve said, that's what he asked for. And I understand it. But that's why I voted no, and I want that on the record.
Thank you. Okay, now we're back to Jimmy Wright's deal. 90-day review, and Ralph's going to handle that. And as I said, Chris was here from the board, and it was kind of a joint review that went on.
We had a meeting with the BPA about Jimmy Ragsdale's review as new position as service director. And I'd like to make a motion on the table to increase his wages to $2 an hour from what he's currently getting, which $1 of that would come from BPA, am I correct?
Correct.
And $1 of it would come from village in order to give him the $2 raise that I feel like he, and the board feels like that he's entitled to. And I'd like to make a motion to that effect.
I second.
Kim? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes. BPA, okay?
Absolutely. We'll vote on it Monday.
Thank you.
In other unfinished business, and I meant to do this a month ago, and probably 2 months ago really, but at least 1 month ago I meant to have this on, and things went a little long last month. The handy sign repair. We have 2 handy signs, all right?
What's that?
We have 2 of the handy signs.
You have 2 of them?
We have 2.
Where were they located?
Well, one we found with the help of Jack Simpson, David Simpson,
Yeah.
Patty Simpson's son,
Yeah.
Jack, who said he had seen it back on the south side of 70, back at the cell tower
Okay.
place there. So there was there were a couple other signs back there, so I don't know if they're collectors or what. But he met us out there, Steve and I, and he got, they don't look that big until you get right beside them. He had his truck there. We loaded it in the back of his pickup truck, and he drove it into town for us. The other one was here, up in an attic, bent, where it had been, I don't know, hit by a car, who knows what had happened to it, and never repaired, and never put back up. So we have 2. They need to be restored before we put them back up. I had, because of the family connection with the Simpson family, and they were all very kind to help us get it back and retrieve the one that was out there. Jared Simpson said he would like to bid on restoring them. And I said that was fine. Get me a number. I think Jared said $350 for each sign. Mort Nash, in the meantime, had come into the office and said he would repair them for nothing. Now, that's a big disparity there. I don't know if you want me to try to get a little more information on what kind of repairs are going to be made, because Jesse's going to get them blasted down and all that, and I don't think Mort would be able to paint them if he didn't. So,
We wouldn't be able to what?
repaint So we can accept one, or we can ask for a little more information from both of them, or whatever, if anybody has anything else. These are two people who live right here, and both of them are interested in helping us get our signs back up. The only thing I'd like to see is that they get up before Aprilfest, when we do have some people coming into town. It'd be foolish to try to put them up now. The construction people would knock them down. But we have two, and I want to know where you want the other one. We can put the one back where it was.
But we don't know where the second one was originally.
I thought it was at Martha Ann's, but now that could have been one of the old ones that Delta Beta Talk had made up.
Or the both of them.
They're identical, they're different colors.
Yeah, shape and
Yeah,
size.
shape and size, he determined. The one that was up in the attic was buried.
It's the, yes, the Ohio
Yes,
Historical Society, is where they came from.
yes.
But, we need to do something to get them fixed, or looking good, before we put them back up. So you want me to,
I'd like to make a motion that you pursue that, or a committee to pursue that, if you want to appoint one.
okay, and see what kind of
What numbers we're looking at, or?
restoration each person plans to do?
And then we can decide where to mount them later if you want to.
Okay, but keep in mind,
Society will know.
Pardon?
I would think the Ohio Society would know, historical, would know where they put it originally.
Maybe. But some of them, so long ago they found them, they may not, people may not be in the society at this time.
That's true. That's
I'll second the motion.
okay, so we will get a vote on that, and then,
Kent?
yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Becky? Karen? Ralph?
Yes.
I will go ahead and talk to Jared too, and see, just have him sketch out what they plan on doing to fix them. Okay, thank you. In new business, you should have, do they all have a copy of the public posting locations? All right, I have a copy of the public posting locations. Here are the locations where we post our meetings, our specials, any kind of posting like that. We also put our ordinances and resolutions up. They have to be posted for 15 days in these places. I'm going to read them. If anybody has objection to these, we can change them, I think, but the village office, they're always posted on the door, or they're available in here. LCNB, Marathon Station, the Sunoco Station, Dollar General, and Farmer State Bank. You have to have 5 posting places. Dollar General has become a little difficult about, it's not the people working there, it's the upper management don't really care for things being posted, and I understand that, because sometimes it gets trashy looking. But, so even if we lost that one, we still have 5 vital places where we can post. So we wanted to make that clear, that for you all and for anybody who reads our minutes, or here's the tape, these are the places where things are posted. Now, just a few days after our last meeting, we had someone apply for our job. Our part-time job. It was Dawson Brubaker, who is Gerald's son, and he's still in school. We checked with our insurance company, it was fine. We got a waiver from our solicitor, directed us to a waiver for his parents to sign so he could work for us. I went ahead and put him on because, to be honest with you, that was the time when I hadn't planned on a special meeting, and I didn't want to wait till now to have him. So we had discussed hiring somebody, we had discussed what we would pay them and how many hours. And so he's been working for us, but I would like you to make it official, if I can get a motion to make him a part-time employee of the village until whenever
goes back.
yeah, August, sometime in August, and at which time, if he has said, he'd be happy to come in and help weekends or something like that, so.
You're not in school.
Yes, when he's not in school. So is there a motion to
I so
hire Dawson Brubaker
I
part-time?
so moved.
Second.
Kent? Yes. Whitaker?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes, well,
Yes.
Thank you. I hate to have to go back and pick up all this $12 if you guys didn't do it.
Oh, wait, no, I have a second.
Yeah, no, too late, it's on the record. Mandy's review is due next month, and I will be doing that. I would like someone to participate in that with me. Would you, somebody from the board like to attend that? It would be nice if we did it sort of like we did Jimmy's, that way we have input from all sides. So if we'll set a time with you and Chris, and I can be here to do that. Communications, did everyone see this? This is from our solicitor. I had asked him to come to this meeting. He sent a very concise explanation of his feelings about the tiny home village and what our responsibilities are here. And because I didn't think, this is what he would have told us had he come. So I just copied this off, told him, don't bother to come if we have questions, if we need to get with you over this issue or anything else, we'll set it up at a different time. But I'm not going to read it into the record, but mostly it's what we talked about previously. We have an agreement with them, and we're not obligated to change that agreement. And it's up to us. We have to decide what we want to do over there. So everybody's got that. Another thing I wanted to draw to your attention to, delinquent income taxes. We have people who are delinquent on their income tax. You all have a copy of that. I know that it costs a lot of money to prosecute these things. I know it does. But the problem I have with this is if we don't prosecute them, do we have twice as big a list next year? I'd like to ask permission to talk with our solicitor and get his best advice on what to do with these delinquent income tax people. Cleveland has gone as far as they're willing to go trying to collect it. It's up to us now. So either we let it drop, and you've seen it, or we go into it and see what we can do about it.
I say we go after them.
yeah.
That's just.
Is there at least look into going after them, find out what it's going to cost us?
If we don't, next year we'll list.
Right. That's how I feel about it too.
And 5 years from now, it'll be $50,000 instead of $2,000.
Yes.
Everybody's gonna pay their taxes.
And they didn't look like they were such big bills. No, they're really deal is.
Not, well, some of them probably are disputes, some of them are probably, I already paid that. I don't think that's the case because I think Cleveland has really done an excellent job at collecting our taxes. We got quite a bit more this year than we had here in the past 2 or 3 years. So I think they've done well by us. But if someone would move to allow me to speak to our solicitor, I'll do so and see what he thinks about prosecuting this.
Motion made.
Second. Go ahead, Ross. Got it.
Kim? Yes.
Yes.
Luther? Aaron?
Yes.
Debbie?
Yes.
Everybody should have a copy of our income tax. This is something we all should know, how our receipts are running. It helps us to keep track of what we thought we were going to get against what we actually did get. And if you'll notice, 17 and 18, there was a big difference in income tax collection. So, and to our benefit. Anyway, I did ask that you all be given these things so we can see our income that we don't get to see very often. One other thing I have here is this Apple Fest. We've been asked if we would like to do a sponsorship. I don't know if it's appropriate for the council itself. The village government's a sponsor. I can look into it if you want me to. But if anybody, any individual would like to be a sponsor of Apple Fest. These pages, you can make a copy. They're going to be right out here in the office. And if you'd like me to, I will look into whether we can do it as a government entity.
I think we ought to look into it. So I don't think we should.
Well, then, we don't have to do anything. All I'm saying is if an individual here would like to donate something, I will leave these out there.
All right, I got it.
And unless someone feels strongly that we should support the Apple Fest more than we do, if that's the case, I can look into it and make sure it's okay for us to do that, is all I'm saying.
As an individual.
Well, no, I mean as a government.
All right, okay.
That's what I need to look
Yeah.
into. Individuals can do whatever they want
That's
to.
right, right.
So this will be in the office if anybody wants to be an individual donor, and we'll make copies of it for you. You can donate if you want. Is there any further business? I have nothing else, I don't think. Go back here and make sure. Got that. Our next meeting date is August 5th at 7 p.m. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?